You know how when some games get rebooted, or I guess more in this case it's remastered, even though they look a lot better, sure, and their controls and how they play might be a little bit more fluid than when they were originally released, but there's still something about it that feels just old. Or the dialogue and the characters and maybe even the story just kind of makes the whole thing feel dated. That even while you're playing it, it still feels very much so like a much older game. Well, Ratchet and Clank is not that at all. This newest version of Ratchet and Clank is basically a remastering of the original one, which came out in 2002, and it is amazing. Most developers, when they repackage one of their older classics, their favorite line to say is they have built this game from the ground up. And usually when you play it, yeah, it's still cool, but it still seems to be lacking that special something that made it so much fun to play and so memorable in the first place. Ratchet and Clank is one of the first games I would definitely say you can tell they rebuilt this game from the ground up. I mean, first thing you notice is it looks gorgeous. It's such a beautiful game. It doesn't look cartoony, but it doesn't look realistic. It's right in that perfect middle ground. I would call it even maybe just very Pixar-ish middle ground between cartoon and realism that just blends together really, really well with the characters. I didn't feel any of the dialogue or the story to be super dated. I still love the humor. I think one of the biggest things about the game that made it feel like an actual new game for me was definitely probably how the game controlled and just overall how I played the game. It didn't feel like I was playing an older game made on current gen consoles. It felt like a new game. The controls were super smooth, they were very intuitive, and I never felt like I was fighting the controls, which is, I think, hard to do in a platformer, especially a much older platformer. The things that people want in their games today and the things that people expect in today's games definitely has changed since 14 years ago. And I think Insomniac did a really good job of taking what gamers want and expect in their games now and being able to blend that with, you know, one of their biggest classic titles. Everything came together and felt so new to me that I'd be playing it, and even though I'm playing it going, I know I've played this before, it still just felt really fresh. I loved it. I enjoyed the hell out of my time with Ratchet and Clank. I'm going to play through again. I forgot how in love I am with their weapons and their weapon design and all the different ways that you can just cause just massive destruction. There's even a lot of attention to detail put into a lot of the graphics and the way that the environments can break apart, and there's so much going on the screen at one time, but it never is overpowering. You know, you're shooting robots and robot pieces are flying off, and there's all these, you know, all the little nuts and bolts that you gotta pick up that's used as currency. You can upgrade all of your weapons and buy more. There's just so much about the game I love. I love the leveling system of the weapons. I love all the collectibles. Although I'm really, really sad because two of the collectibles I can't get. It's the Rhino cards that you need to collect all the Rhino cards in the game to be able to take them back to the Rhino vendor. And as a completionist, I was just like, yes, not only do I want the weapon you have, but yes, you tell me that there's X amount of things in a game and I'm gonna try to find them. But I suck at the hoverboard races. I hate racing. I hate it. Unless it's Burnout or Mario Kart. The only time I enjoy racing is if I can race very aggressively. And you can't really do that in the hoverboard races because you need to be doing your jumps and your tricks and making sure you don't fly off the edge. I suck at it. The two times I needed to finish a hoverboard race, I barely made it both times through the bronze, and to be able to get the Rhino card, you have to win both golds. And that's just not a possibility for me. But there's also other collectibles in the game, like the gold screws, which then you can go into the options, or no, it's the extras menu, and unlock all these different fun skins and features within the game that you can play. And it's really, really cool. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about the game. I absolutely loved it. I can't really think of any negatives other than the hoverboard racing, but that's not their fault. That's because I suck at it. I just absolutely loved Ratchet and Clank's re-release. I think it's one of the best re-releases of a classic game that I originally loved I've ever played. And that's hard for me to say because I'd say I'm very critical. I'm critical on games in general, but I'm very critical on remasters or reboots or remakes of some of my favorite games because 9 times out of 10 you go back and you play the remastered or the reboot and they just didn't get it. Like I was saying at the beginning, they're just missing that special something that made it so memorable in the first place. And Ratchet and Clank totally hit the nail on the head. It was wonderful. So if you're on the fence about getting this, get it. You'll love it. It will bring back all of your memories and all of your love for the original and create new love for the current one. It's great. And if you've never played the past Ratchet and Clank games at all, they're awesome, but I would definitely recommend this because one of the genres I miss the most in today's gaming is a really well done, fun platformer. But I'm so glad that Insomniac brought back Ratchet and Clank because it is great. It fulfilled all of my needs and wants for a platformer and gave me big, crazy, fun guns to do it with. So definitely check out Ratchet and Clank. I am positive you will love it. You'll love it, you'll love it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I totally love you.